they stealing and sharing with y'all? My bad, nigga, my bad, my bad. You know what I mean? Yo, yo, family. Yo, can you
Yeah,
hear me? Yo, what up? You hear me?
my
Negro.
bad, bro. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear you.
yeah. Well, you get what I'm saying, though? This is why nobody care about the files because you got Bill Clinton and Trump, and Bill Clinton, why, him and his family's in there basically because I'm hearing some other shit that she knew about certain things allegedly. I don't know, but you get what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, man, they all corrupt, bro. You feel me?
Right.
Ain't nobody really standing on shit.
Right. You can't, you can't make it look like.
Like it seems like every time we think we got somebody that's going, you feel me, go against the system, seem like they already got their claws in them.
Can't make it look like. We can't make it look like only one side is doing damage here, or you know.
Yeah, they all doing dirt. You feel me?
And,
They
and, and
just
what's hypocritical that I don't like is people every time Trump does something wrong, people are talking about Nicki Minaj. But when Biden and Obama did something wrong, ain't nobody talk about Beyonce and Jay Z. You see what I'm saying? Be honest, I'm being honest. I'm not carry on,
no. I was just saying, like regardless of who it is or what party it is. You feel me? It's like they always, it'll look like, oh yeah, this person's real, this person, woo, 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 you feel me? But then, soon as they get in office, you feel me, or soon as they accomplish whatever they was running for, shit. Then it turn out to be what you was voting against. You feel me? So
right,
it's like, damn, and that's why a lot of people stopped voting because they was like, damn, bitch, like it's rigged. You feel me? Like
bro. They're trying to
they
make it look like
they select them motherfuckers. They ain't electing shit, bro.
they gotta
All
call out
that
both
shit, all
sides.
that shit go by bloodline. You feel me? Lineage, all that shit. You feel me? And then, but I find it very suspicious that we don't really know too much about what happened to Lil Jon's son. Like this nigga, this is a whole celebrity. You feel me?
Right.
Like just like how they looking for that one bitch mama. You feel me? Like how come we don't know what the fuck happened to this nigga? This nigga was allegedly booked to go somewhere. You feel me? The address would look suspicious than a bitch any motherfucking way. Like the address that he was going to. Some I think it was like 1717 masonry, something. You feel me? Come on,
Right.
bro. Like this shit got Illuminati written all over it. Sacrifice, bitch.
Man.
Nigga died 20 days after the nigga birthday.
Right.
27.
There's a lot of stuff that they do, yo, in code, yo. And it's
Bro,
like,
look, that shit, that's a curse, bro. That's a curse for joining, for breaking, you feel me? Like, I forgot. I was just watching a video about that shit, man. And people was like, dude made good sense with it. He was breaking the shit down in the numerology and what the numbers saying and shit. But and then it's like, bro, I can't believe we still talk about Jim Jones old ass fighting on a motherfucking plane.
who?
Grown ass motherfucking men. These niggas old as fuck still
Who
beefing.
you talking about, Ja Rule?
What? Uh, you was talking about Jim Jones and them people on the plane with the pillow fight, whatever the fuck. You feel me?
Uh-huh.
Like, bro, y'all ass old as fuck carrying on like that. It's like a big ass nothing burger. You feel me?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, y'all in the algorithm because y'all had Uncle Murder with y'all, but at the end of the day, bro, all that shit really look lame. You feel me?
It is lame. It's lame.
That shit lame as fuck. Y'all old as fuck. Y'all fighting on the airplane. You don't see the white people doing that shit. You don't see the Asian people doing that shit. It's only niggas
At
doing
that
dumb
age,
shit.
at that
At that
age,
age, bro. At that
people
age,
argue,
you don't
people
even conduct
argue.
themselves like that.
People, I saw other white people crash around the airplane. You know what I mean? But at that
Yeah, I
age,
mean, I done seen them crash before, but not at that age.
yeah, but yeah, right. At that age and the whole gangster stuff, and kind of you grab pillows to swing at each other. That's crazy. Wow, that is wild. That's some shit. Man. At that age right there, I just want to know if they're gonna be doing this at 55, 60. You know, this shit is wild. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
They gonna be in the Walker, goddamn me beefing.
Gonna be who?
They gonna be in the Walker beefing.
Right? Hitting. 50 gonna be hitting Ja Rule with a fucking walking stick. You know, like,
Yeah, they gonna be beefing to the death.
they need to put that. That shit embarrassing as hell. Embarrassing. I'm sorry. Man, on the airplane, on the
Hmm.
air. What's what? So what? Did they take it off or what? Like what happened? Was the airplane in the air when they did that? Man, you guys,
You know it wasn't in the air when they did that.
that's why they was flexing.
You know it wasn't in the air. Then if y'all celebrities, why the hell y'all ain't goddamn me? Y'all in regular class.
That was a what? A regular flight, right?
It look like a regular ass flight. Ain't
Yeah.
nobody talking about that. Why the
Yeah.
fuck y'all? You feel me? Y'all celebrities, but y'all out here taking flights like regular people. That
Yeah.
look like a commercial flight.
Yeah, exactly. That look like a regular flight where that look like a regular flight. You know what? You're right about that. You know, you're right about that.
It would look like a regular flight. I'm trying to tell you, motherfucker ain't saying nothing about that shit. They just caught up in the people. That's nah. Let's look at everything.
Right. It's true though. I did look like a regular flight though. Made us,
Cause who the fuck was filming? Oh shit, that's Jim Jones. Oh shit, that's Uncle Murder. You feel me? Type shit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Fuck me.
Wow, really, yo. The nigga Tony Yayo, yo. I can't believe them niggas. That age, yo. At that age, boy. Niggas still keep. I guess, damn. I guess niggas gonna have to still walk. If them niggas walking on with street, acting gangster, niggas gotta still keeping it gangster. Still, niggas still
Niggas be
wise up.
overly thugging.
But you still supposed. That's some street attitude shit right there. And I not when you're on a business mind, I don't think you should be out street attitude. Yeah, it's supposed to say something, but not like that. Not cause a scene on the airplane. You're supposed to say something.
Hmm.
Can you imagine how that, like, how come no one showed nothing about them, how they walk out of the airplane? You know what I mean? I need to see the footage. How was it when they walk out the airplane?
But
You know, like when they checked out, like if the plane take off and they both was on the airplane, how did how did that checkout go? Like, how did they both get off? Was they, laughing? Was they arguing with each other? That's kind of
yeah,
crazy.
normally if it's a situation like that, both of them motherfuckers will get kicked off the plane.
Yeah, yeah, right. They both getting kicked out the airplane.
Especially when it turn physical. They ain't just gonna let y'all fly like that. Cause
Exactly.
business, we might get up in the air, you might try and kill this nigga.
Yeah, everybody getting off the airplane. Doesn't matter if you got your manager, you know, everybody getting off.
So
That situation,
that's
like,
that that's
I don't
that
know.
right there.
I don't know about that. What do you call it? Pillow talk in the airplane. Pillow airplane talk. Whatever you want to say. But they was, what they was doing up there was not wrong. When they're not, have a sleepover, and then you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, that's it. They having a sleepover, and they just start throwing pillows at each other. That was insane.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Like when you hear about two grown ass niggas having a pillow fight, what the fuck you think going on?
Right? What do you think?
Pillow fight, nigga. Fuck. What the hell y'all got going on? What y'all was having a slumber party, nigga?
Niggas acting
That's
like
the first thing I thought about. Shit, I'm like, damn, they had a pillow fight on a plane, nigga.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? On an airplane.
What y'all was having a slumber party on the plane?
Yeah, like, it don't make no sense, bro. Nigga, they just stalking Ja Rule, I swear to God. Man,
That shit, that crazy.
that is wild. I ain't gonna lie to you. What do you think about them trying to cancel Bad Bunny though?
They can't, they
Huh?
can't cancel, they can't cancel them because of the machine that's behind them.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
They can't cancel. He already been endorsed by them folks. You feel me? So
Yeah,
it ain't nothing.
crazy.
You could try and cancel them all you want to, but shit, they gonna continue to put them in your face.
Well, the Democrats and them, they trying to, you know, you know, they on his ass. Not the Democrats, the Republicans, they on his ass. The investigation, with the gay sexual act stuff that they said he was singing in the song, and you know, and the shit and stuff he was doing. They on him for that. I don't know if you heard about that. Yeah, but they was on his ass for that. That's insane and crazy out here, man. Wild ass, wild ass. Oh yeah, I'm gonna roll up. I got a thing going over here too.
But
I got something going. I got something smoking on over here too. I got hungry though.
I think I done perfected my blunt rolling, bro. I ain't gonna count. My shit be perfect.
Yeah, yeah. But I said the Republicans, they're trying to, you know, investigate him and saying, oh, he was doing, the gay sexual acts and saying crazy stuff in his song. So they kind of want to like, but if they go
I
at him,
mean, what do you expect though? The niggas the bisexual fucking artists.
right? They act like they didn't.
It's about they act like they didn't know this before. You feel me? They picked it. This is exactly why they picked him. It was the perfect candidate. The perfect
Jay Z.
candidate.
So they saying they blaming it on Jay Z. Jay Z on
Man,
them.
they ain't blame it on Jay Z. Jay Z don't run shit. Jay Z just the face. He still take orders. The fuck.
Yeah, Rock. Remember, Rock Nation is he's a part of Rock Nation.
Because if that was the case,
But you hear me
just
though.
like just like just like you was arguing the other
But you
day
know,
about, oh, well, how come he ain't have no black artists for Black History Month? Reason being is because he don't run it. It's not his shit to run. You feel me? He just the face. You feel
I
me?
said,
Like that's the
that's what
position.
I said that today. I said that too. I'm like, yo, how come you never had no black artists in the Black History Month? You know what I mean? But I don't think Jay Z. I don't think Jay Z wants that because I don't. He don't really throw niggas up like that, bro. Because one, remember,
He got to do his job. He got to do his job just like everybody else.
yeah, but really though, if you're gonna have a show like that on the biggest stage, bro, and like what you said, the Black History Month, you should at least done something for the culture. You know what I mean? Instead of causing a outrage or you know, I don't know. It's just wild. But I don't think they should be investigating him and whatever. I just didn't like what you said. They know what type of artist he was, and that's what I say. It's not all on him. It's on the NFL and Jay Z. But at the end of the day, somebody has to be a fall guy, and they just gonna either put it on him and use him for a distraction, maybe even cause a riot. No, some type of protest, and then just to distract the Epstein. But really, I don't think they should be doing all that. I think the Epstein shit is more. The people I'm in the background are more wild. Just saying. Than his shit. Ain't way too wild and way too exclusive shit. You know what I mean? And it's like when I mean exclusive, I mean it's like they hide all the crazy shit and put the what I mean um stuff like this and make it like, oh, you know he should, yeah, but I can't lie, he was doing some lot of crazy stuff, certain stuff they shouldn't be doing up there. I mean at the Super Bowl because it's a family show and like what I mean, regardless of who you is, what type of artist you is, you just what I mean, it can't fly. You know what I mean? But I don't think Jay Z he like this where he never really he kind of like stopped being a Seagull's career. So I'm not surprised of him not wanting to do nothing for the culture because he's always looking for something, looking to do something for somebody else. I mean, because if he didn't get rid of, if he still would have had the group with him, being Seagull, Man Bleak, and all of them, and still in Freeway, you know, that he wouldn't have been where he's at right now. He dropped everybody to get where he's at. So yes, I'm gonna say he does have a little bit Negro. I'm gonna say he does have a little bit of control of what's going on. He did the whole thing last year with Kendrick Lamar. So I think he's the top. You know, do that as a billionaire. Yes, he was in control of that type of stuff. You could have that type of pull. You're not a millionaire. He was a billionaire, especially when you what is he like? What? Um,
Reason why I say he's not in control of it is because even though, yeah, that's his position and that's his title, right?
yeah,
The NFL as a whole, you feel me, is still owned by those people, right?
right.
So do you not think that those people is going to have any say so on what's being promoted on their halftime show any given time?
Yeah, it's true, but
Especially to promote an agenda for whatever they're pushing at that given moment. I'm just saying. I'm looking at it from okay, yeah, he's in control. Yes, he has the accolades of a billionaire, you feel me? Yes, all of that, but you still have the owners that own the actual NFL as a whole, and you know they gotta say so. So that's really who he reporting to, or you feel me, is representing,
Hmm. I'm
right
not
or
really.
wrong.
You're right. You're right.
I'm just saying.
You're right. Then about as a
He
you got
can't he
but
can't just be like, oh, I'm finna put
you
whoop de
you
whoop
could have a
on
lot.
the
Listen, you could have
on the
a
thing. You feel me? He gotta go to them guys first and be like, oh well, I was thinking about putting boo boo boo. What do you think about this person? You feel me?
but when you have but I know he has a big time. This is why reason why I think Jay Z got a lot of pull over the halftime show in the NFL. The thing that the Kendrick Lamar last year, and then because they had this year around they had two different type of halftime show. You know what I mean? Because everybody, that's what I'm saying. That's what made me think. Yeah, this is a contract. Remember, if you're on a contract, you're gonna have, what you're gonna do, right? Even though you might have bosses, but if you put certain things out there, you could do it. Like what you said, you still got bosses, but you could do it. You got a contract. You could still do what you want to do. Your boss is going, as long as you make them their money. They're not gonna. If you're not making them their money, then they're not. Then if you're not making it, then they're gonna have a problem with you. But if you're making them a problem, you still have issues with people. That as long as you're making their money, they're not really gonna lean on you. Yeah, 'cause that's what it is. As much as we could complain when people make it a big issue, like, oh yeah, still, at the same time, maybe just one, maybe it's only the Democrats that made money off the Super Bowl and not the Republicans. That's why the Republicans are doing that. I don't know, allegedly. You see what I'm saying? But it's that. When you got a contract, and I think it's going to be his contract. Uh, Jay Z contract is about to be up because it's been a while since he's been doing this hand picking music with everybody. So I just think it's yeah. That's just me though. I don't think that the the people I'm gonna allow. I think he the one that picked. And he picked Bad Bunny, and I think he's the one that because they're Rock Nation. They're Rock Nation artists. You know, every artist that went up last year was Rock Nation artists, right? There you go. They,
I don't know.
yeah, they signed to Jay Z. Yeah, they signed to Jay Z. So if you're putting your artists up there, you have control. You got political ties, bro. You know, and that man got a lot of power. When the whole thing with with the whole thing with Diddy, and they try to get him involved in that, and then he got himself out of it. I said, damn. Anybody else couldn't like get themselves out like that. He got himself out of that real quick. That shows you right there that yeah, he's got that power right there. He's got that power there. Right? The only thing that had Diddy in that situation is because the cast, and nobody else gonna know anything that happened because nobody gonna know what's going on with Epstein because one, and nobody. Some people don't want they name or their face to be known, right? They don't want their name and anything to be out there because they was too.
Bro, people stepping down, handing in resignations, all type of shit because of that Epstein shit, bro.
Yeah, but nobody really getting in trouble like that. People who should be stepping out and not stepping down. You know what I'm saying? You just don't want to see, you know what I mean? That's not.
I mean, hasn't it always been like that though?
Yeah, it's true, but I mean,
Shit, they did that shit. They did that shit with when they overthrew goddamn Hitler. You feel me? Cause all them bugs supposed to go through it. You feel me? But what they did, they cut a deal and made them start working for them. You feel me?
right. I get you.
So it's like it's just how it go. You feel me? Ain't gonna never be really be no justice. It's gonna be an illusion of justice, but it really ain't no justice at the end of the day.
Right.
You really can't justify it.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's true though. You can't justify nothing like it's true. You ain't lying at all. I don't know about that. It's we gonna see what happens. All I'm saying
you
is,
already know what's gonna happen. This shit really get worse and worse and worse until this shit bust. And then when it be bust, you gonna really see what's going on.
right, boy. But it seems like, as I said, this as much as they try to outrage, as much as what I think, even though I think, you know, what I mean, was kind of weird, and you know, what I mean, da da da, the halftime show. I don't think it should be an outrage like, oh, cancel him or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the man, like,
I don't know.
let
I
the
don't even
man
know
make
who
his
he is.
music, make his money. You feel me? But
I don't
all
know
that
who he is.
cancel shit.
I don't know who he is. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never listened to him before. You know what I mean? I seen his shit. I seen him on TikTok, and he was kissing on his male backup dancers and all that. I said, whoa. You know what I mean? But that's not my business. I only knew it about him, the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And when there was like, oh, Bad Bunny gone, I'm like, who the hell is going to the halftime show? I'm like, oh, that's why y'all mad because this guy's. I'm like, but I don't know that. I don't listen to that type of music. So I
Right.
don't know. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm.
I listen to Rick Tone, you know, songs like Maria Maria. You see what I'm saying? And what else? What do you call it? Like, Shakira and like that type of stuff. You know what I mean? That I can understand. Can't lie to y'all. I don't really, yeah. I can't dig all that. Other, yeah, shit that I'm not into. And I'm not knocking nobody for nothing. Like, it's one thing. I is not knocking nobody for what they want to do, what they into is just when we, you know what I mean, start acting like, oh, we need to push up everything on everybody else. It's just kind of, it's crazy to me. Like, it's crazy to me. Everybody should be able to do whatever they want and be comfortable with it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, somebody, over there want to be, don't make them feel comfortable. Somebody wants to be out there, don't make them feel comfortable. Just don't make your choice and you don't want to make someone else's choice. It's not, you know, that's what I'm saying. If we want to be comfortable, we make our choices, but don't make other people's choices, right? That's fair, right? Right? We can't use when I say that, is we can't say make her greet me and shake hands and say, okay, that's fair.
But then, when somebody makes a choice and then comes up to the job, and because all right, we both make different choices, but then we make it where the choice that we make is better than your choice, and then if you don't, then that is too much. That is sour, and way too much, way too much. That stuff has to stop. It has to, and I think that's the next. That's the next where everybody gets understanding and start bullying. Start fighting against that stuff. That should be something simple. You make your choice. If you ever a part of something or something else and somebody else, then cool. You know what? You can't make it a habit or a reality to say, hey, all right, we're this, and if you want to work with us, you're gonna have to stop, drop it, and come join what we believe in and whatever that's. No, everybody should be able to work with each other, whatever they believe in, whatever they want. You know what I mean? And that's where the world is. That's where the divide. People need to start admit and be stop lying to themselves. Yeah, that's what dividing shit. It's not really, you know, um, we're making the choices that we're trying to make it for other people, right? Right. Oh, that's well, exactly. That's what I feel like to me is people are trying to make choices for people, and people don't want to make their own. Excuse me. And people are just mad because they're saying that we can't turn somebody to a villain because we can't make a choice for them, and we can't villainize one person when both persons are doing the same thing. You know what I mean? You can't do all that. Everybody's gotta get, you know, should be on the same scale for what they're doing to others. If you're out here accusing somebody for something and then you're like, wait a minute, our government's over this mental health, they're doing this over here too. All right, here we go. But you can't, and we can't, and then both government that make a rule at that time, you can't go back in time, travel back in time, and use the rule that was okay, that was legal, or that was a rule, and then try to make it a law in today's time. This is the problem with you guys, government people. You guys do that, not us. We just get it, we follow, we look. So I mean, the females they see it, they use it. You know what I mean? Males they see it, they use it, whatever. You know. But gotta stop doing that. If you had a law in that time and it said you could have done that, then you can't, go back and say, well, you can't do this right now, but we're gonna go back in the time that you could have done it and charge you. Put that's stupid. That's stupid. And you shouldn't have made that law. Period. If you was gonna change it into this time, like you get what I'm saying? That's kind of like that's the next thing that's kind of like makes me a little bit like, huh? Like some of these government people seem like they confused because they go back all the way back. They don't really take care of what's going on right now. If you can go back in time and build, you know, take the job and and make the job accurate now. You got nothing going on, so you guys go back in time. But what about the people that has that the jobs are going away, and people are losing their jobs, and business are going or whatever. And people gotta close their business, but they can't go back in time and get old cases and turn them into what I mean. You can't make a law and say, all right, you could smoke, you could smoke cigarettes in the bar at the club, right? And people were smoking weed in the club back then, but even though it was illegal, you could smoke a cigarette at a bar, whatever, in the office at your workspace, right? No, you can't go back in time and say, hey, you know what, you used to smoke weed in the club, and you can't smoke weed in the club today, and you did it back then, so we're gonna charge you with it. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So you guys make crimes. You guys create crime. The government, you guys, and that's why people need to understand. You're gonna let them control you and run you into the wall. This is why the mainstream media is mad because they figure people are like, wait a minute, now we want to see both sides get in trouble. Fuck all that. You know what I mean? But they create and they think about it. They can create jobs, so they but they create certain things. If you made a law, if you made a law and you stop, the law is you said, all right, you know what? The law that we made in 75, we won't stop that law in 2000. You can't go back and charge somebody for the law that you had, that you created, that your government created, you know, your bloodline, and charge people, some people for it. You gotta charge everybody. You're creating shit. You gotta open. Think about it. You gotta think. You gotta think. If people got questions, right? People got questions. You gotta think. If people, if these guys was so okay to fly around Washington Airport with these, you know, young females and fly around with them like that, check in and check out. Don't you think that was kind of weird back then? Because it seemed like a lot of people were doing that. So you have to be some type of, you know, age, something that they had going on while that man was doing back then. So you see what I'm saying? I don't know. This is why some people I was born in those times was like, oh, they didn't do anything wrong. But I'm like, why would you guys say those people? No, this Caucasian, some Caucasian people are saying that, you know, Trump and Epstein never did anything wrong. But I'm like, okay, why would you guys say that? But if you go look at it, while they're saying that, it makes sense because some of these people back then, it was some, I don't know what the age was for them to be, you know, for a grown man to be flying around with, you know, young girls. At what age? I don't know what it was. They know the law that they had. You know what I mean? They made it. So they cannot, their bloodline, their family, their, you know, whatever, ancestors, they cannot, you know, it seems like they cannot do that. You know, you can't go back in time and create jobs. Because if we don't have the same mailman, we can't just have one person delivering mail, right? You know what I'm saying? Think about it. We're not gonna have that. We're gonna have some new shit where you put mail in the mailbox. You know, the grocery store now where you can now get your groceries delivered to you. You know, which is kind of take some of the jobs away from the grocery store because now somebody could just take the shit and bring it to you instead of you going there, lining up, packing it yourself. You're not really creating nothing. I'm sorry. You know, I think you're taking away from jobs instead of when you got people that work for the company because the company could just have their own drivers and then they deliver your goods because you order it, right? I'm talking about food and stuff like that. But, I'm saying, well, um, not taking away a job, but you can. But for them, it seems like when they want to, build something or they make money, it's like they go back. They don't really tackle the real certain things. They make big more money on the old cases than the stuff that's going on today. I'm just saying, like they go back and they create shit. There's no way a government that they was doing something, their family member was doing it, and now because whatever, it's a different time. You can't go back. You shouldn't be able to do that. Just like you can't drive cars. Cars are banned. All cars are banned from the 80s from the road up. They're saying, what I mean, that certain cars can't be on the road. Like certain cars are really, they could really ticket you. Or really, if you're driving around like if you're on the road with a 2090 98 car or something car, they might look at you away. know what I mean? But if you're on the road with a 2000 thing car, the insurance now is gonna like benefit. They're not really. They're gonna take care of you. So the insurance is not really gonna fuck with you if you're out there driving a. You see what I'm saying? A 91 car, 92 car, whatever, but a 2000 car. That's because the law is like that. They made it like that. So that's not creating jobs either. You know what I mean? That's the next thing. That's not creating jobs because the mechanic, you know, now you're taking away jobs from the people that was mechanic in the cars. You know that because there's certain not everybody could fix know about a 96 Corvette or a 98 Corvette. Like, you know what I mean? You got some mechanics that are different. Like, they're different. That's why you got different shops. So now when you're doing that, you're taking away jobs. You're not creating jobs. And that's everywhere. That's North America. That's here. That's, Canada and America where this is happening. Other countries, you could, what I mean? People laugh at you, but you don't really have anybody but you do have them mechanics that are doing that. Oh, people will fix cars, but then you're not creating jobs. You know, you're taking jobs away. I thought we were supposed to be creating, and both sides. We can't blame one government. What else? Yeah, but you go back and you say, you know what? I'm gonna charge you with some shit, some crime that we was all doing. You know what I mean? Because majority of these politician people, they haul out young women in the 80s in the thing, and a lot of them, it's like I'm like, okay, if you guys are going back and charging people, you guys should go back and charge everybody because that was a law that you guys made. That was a consent. You guys made it a law, right? That's why you had um a lot of these today, you know, these women are, like even with our grandmas and aunties and whatever, they was younger than their husband because that was the law they had right back then. So they can't just come charge people and do certain things like that. They're making shit. Nothing's not happening to them, so they're making it, but they don't create jobs like that. You know what I mean? Not everybody, right? Not everybody's gonna. That's what I'm saying. The writers and the journalists that they have, that doing journalism, they're not really like what they used to be. They're not really, they're not really writers like that because they ain't got nothing to write about. They're writing about shit they don't know about. It wasn't born yet. You see what I'm saying? So it's basically they're making a fiction, and they're hearing from somebody else. And if you hadn't know about it, and as a journalist or doing, what I mean, you're gonna be like, well, you're gonna go after that because you don't think you heard from the best. But really, how could you be a journalist and you want to write about stuff, at year 20, and you want to write about stuff from when you're 7, somebody else. You know what I mean? In the 80s or you see what I'm saying? Well, how are you gonna do all that? So you basically have to research all that. But now you gotta present the evidence, you gotta present the story now for the media. You see what I'm saying? That is not you're not really creating a job unless you're a person that like to tell stories and write just write some crazy shit. Then yeah. But they're not really creating no jobs. They act like they do. Everybody's still in the same position. I thought honestly, I thought everyone was going to do that. There's things like it's more crazy than ever before. Bro. It is more crazy than ever before. It's so crazy. This shit is so crazy. This shit is crazier than ever before. I thought we would have been like, how much people got their tax money and have to spend it on some major stuff. Major stuff. As soon as they give you the money, they're upping your bills, they're upping your insurance, they're upping your mortgage, your rent. So what is he really doing? What is they really giving you money for? You give somebody something, and then you raise everything. You see what I'm saying? Everything goes up. Tax, everything. Start raising the food on certain, start raising the price on certain little things that everybody gets. Um, it's just wild. So what can you, really do? And so I said, everybody is right now. That's why it's like that, where everybody just taking and doing corrupted shit because everyone's living corrupted on both sides. And that's why you got more criminals and more dirty cops and that because everything is so expensive. You know, you get an increase, and that's all in everybody. You get an increase. Your mortgage, your rent goes up. You move in the next place. Next thing you know, bam, it goes up again. Next thing you gotta buy food, and it goes up. Next thing you know, your bill comes. Your bill is this because you're doing too much. Next thing you know, they want you to buy this app because this TV show is not going to be on this app no more. So now you got to buy, pay, spend more. Everything goes up. So you getting your money, your tax money, and then everything goes up right after. As soon as right after everyone's getting that tax money, everything goes up. Everything's going up at the same time. While you're getting your money coming in, you're waiting on your tax return. Everything's going up. Yeah, look around. That's why I said I do it. I've been doing that spending. Everything. So, real talk, y'all. Everything is like, that's why I said, that's what they need to understand right now is they need to get back with the jobs, stop it, where we need to get out of power because, or where we need to be in power, be in power. That's nasty, right? It's like we're having both sides.
She don't want it. She wants avocado.
I'm having avocado. Well, this is a nasty thing that's going on in the public eye. It's like we're watching an election, and it's not an election.
I'm gonna get your dad's and not you. That's
We're
nice.
told stories about each other.
Come on.
Next time, pull out a file. What we got here with the Epstein file is we got anybody can tell you that both of them and both sides they are putting on shit. They both got their own FBI that help them along with they both got their own media platform. That's what's going on. It's crazy. Is they control the media and it's just crazy. I don't know what to think. That's like what they try to tell us that we had a mass shooting down. There's not no mass shooting. I mean, how does somebody say it's a mass shooting, right? And said 10 people got unalive. Say 10 people got unalive. But then, the police came in and said, oh, nobody died. That was false information. So what was that? Was that a distraction that went wrong? I'm just saying. So if you're watching CNN right now, and you heard on the news, on CNN, or you heard early on, that there's a mass shooting in Canada, and 10 people got unalive. That was a lie. The police, they said that was a lie. Yeah. I'm not going to tell y'all nothing. But I'm just saying, why would they put that report out there? That's not true. I understand if they say, well, a mass shooting, one person or two person by accident. But to say 10 people, and then when you find out, oh, they're lying, it never really happened, that's kind of crazy. Want to know who's making all the story? No, who's making all the story? I don't know if y'all can. Let me see if I get this. Let me see if I get it. I just want to know who's making the story. Right? I don't know who's making the story. That's the most. I'm just trying to see if they have it on. And CNN. But they had a man. I think if y'all seen a mass shooting, they said I have mass shooting down here, and nobody died. Only I guess must only 4 people that went to the hospital or something like that. But that's the next thing I'm saying. Like they make their own. They could make their own. They could say something that's not true and make like millions and billions of dollars in 5 minutes and say, "Oh my God, it's not true." We got to be careful.
Oh, I'm not losing. I'm losing.
We got to be careful with that, people. Right, babe? About the mass shooting, right?
What?
When you said that 10 people got unalive in the mass shooting? Yeah, but they're saying though that the RCMP is saying nobody died. I think that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. I just think that for them to give a number like that and then say 10 people died and nobody died, that's weird. That is weird. Yeah, check it out. I'm gonna put it up, y'all. I'm gonna let this mass shooting happen. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. A lot of crazy stuff's going on. I had a 15-year-old. I shot a 16-year-old in a what do you call it? In a coffee shop. These kids are crazy. Let's see, home history. Let me find this thing right here. no, I am on the wrong one. Let me. Supposed to be on the other one. Let me hold up, y'all. Let me get this mass shooting thing that I don't know if people are seeing it. The mass shooting apparently happened down here, the other side of the part of the town. I think it's most. I think it's on the west side, somewhere. I know it's not down here in Toronto, or close by Toronto, down here in Ontario. I could be wrong. Hold up. Let me see what's happening. Here we go. Oh, it's just see. This is not even in. It's not even in Ontario. Yeah, this is the mass shooting here. Hold on. So-called mass shooting. I don't know why he shot up.
Just 2,400 people. Tumbler Ridge is now mourning the people after a school shooting Tuesday afternoon.
Oh, it's a school shooting.
The worst mass shootings in Canada's history. 8 people are dead. 2 victims are in critical condition.
But they said no. Who was this? I thought they said no one died. These people are confusing. They said no one died. They said no one died. No, they're saying 8 people died. First they said 10 people died. And then they said 4 people in hospital, no one died. But listen to this. But a mass shooting happened down here. They said the worst mass shooting happened in Canadian history. Let's hear this.
And 25 other people are injured. The shooter was 18-year-old Jessie Van Rootseller. Police say Van Rootseller killed her 39-year-old mother and her 11-year-old stepbrother in their family home in Tumbler Ridge. She then went to the school with a long gun and modified handgun. There, police say she opened fire, killing a 39-year-old female teacher, 3 12-year-old female students, and 2 male students, 12-year-old and a 13-year-old. RCMP issued an emergency alert Tuesday afternoon for an active shooter after reports of gunfire. When police entered, they...
Damn, so I guess somebody died. But the RCMP is saying nobody died. You're a female. 18-year-old girl, damn. But she got so much gun. What the hell? Who was her parents? Modified handgun. That's them gun with them switches that she talking about. Damn. I made this little girl. I said, some people are crazy, yo. Yeah. Do you guys think if she wasn't going to school, that would have happened to her? She would have been like that? I don't think so. You know, they kept her home. This wouldn't have happened.
They found the 6 people dead in various areas of the school.
But they said first they said 8 people. Listen to it. First they said 8 people. Now 6 people. Listen. Let's bring it back.
Secondary school, one of the worst mass shootings in Canada's history.
Listen to it.
Loss of 7.
She said 8 people died. Right? But then she said 6. But then the RCMP came out and said nobody died. I don't know. Unless I heard it wrong. pretty sure I didn't hear it wrong.
Several people after a school shooting Tuesday afternoon at the Tumbler Ridge Secondary School, one of the worst mass shootings in Canada's history.
Okay, yeah,
8 people are dead, 2 victims are in critical condition, and 25 other people are injured. The shooter was 18-year-old Jessie Van Rootseller. Police say Van Rootseller killed her 39-year-old mother and her 11-year-old stepbrother in their family home in Tumbler Ridge. She then went to the school with a long gun and modified handgun. There, police say she opened fire, killing a 39-year-old female teacher, 3 12-year-old female students, and 2 male students, 12-year-old and a 13-year-old. RCMP issued an emergency alert Tuesday afternoon for an active shooter after reports of gunfire. When police entered, they found the 6 people dead in various areas of the school. The shooter was also found dead at the school with what RCMP say was a self-inflicted injury. Peyton McNeil is a student at the secondary school and was locked down in her class during the shooting.
At first, we didn't know what it was. It didn't feel real. It sounded like construction or something. And then we heard screams, and then the alarm started going. We had to grab kids from the hallway. We got sent into the back room, and we were just locked in there for like 3 hours, not knowing where our siblings were, not being able to talk to our parents.
We do believe the suspect acted alone, and there are currently no other outstanding suspects.
When asked, police said that the shooter was born a man but transitioned into a female, but Mounties stressed that there's no indication that that has anything to do with the shooting. The local medical center.
Yeah, once again, the trans people are in the center and front of crazy shit. Crazy shit, yeah. Crazy, yeah. That is crazy. That is why, yo. You're telling y'all, getting these kids and transforming them, they're gonna have problems. They're gonna have issues. They're gonna have issues where they're gonna have problems where they're gonna have side effects, and the side effects gonna be crazy. It's just like when a person does. Ask any woman that do a breast implant if they go through problems. That's why they're telling you these ladies with this BBLs. You know what I mean? Because they think they go through problems, but yeah. Once again, the trans people, the LGBT people, she was crazy. So she was an LGBT girl. Oh my God. And the worst shooting ever. That's some sad ass stuff. But I'm trying to figure, why would she unalive her parents?
Has been open around the clock, providing support for those in the community and those injured. Catherine Ludwig, Global News.
Why would she unalive her parents though? Or he? This is crazy, huh? This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. This is insane, y'all. Let me go back to this right here. This is insane. Hold on. Let's code on.
For coming, and I recognize the significant interest not only the media but the public have in this event, so I will endeavor to do my best to inform you as up to date as possible and to provide some information moving forward about how we will manage our communications. I'll just...
See, China people, right? They're going to find a way to justify for this girl or whoever for what that person done. They're going to find a way.
Start with a review of the incident from yesterday. So on February 10th at approximately 1:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at Tumbler Ridge, RCMP received a report of an active shooter at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. A police-initiated public alert, PIPA, was issued as officers responded. Police from Tubalo Ridge RCMP and surrounding detachments responded immediately, with members from the local detachment arriving within 2 minutes of the initial call. Upon arrival, there was active gunfire, and as officers approached the school, rounds were fired in their direction. Officers entered the school to locate the threat. Within minutes, an individual confirmed to be the shooter was located deceased, with what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The suspect has been identified.
Tell you guys this. So when they tell you guys on CNN about the mass shooting in Canada and all and that they said it was a girl, remember that it was a man. It was a man that turned into a trans woman. Right? Remember this. The mass shooting. Anybody in America. You see this when it pop up on CNN and they say, "Oh, a girl." Just remember that. It was a man. It was a trans woman that did that. Because one thing about, you know what I mean? You know, that's crazy. This is one of the most worst shootings, you know what I mean, that ever happened in history. Worst.
As 18-year-old Jesse Van Rootselaar, who is a resident of Tumbler Ridge. 2 firearms, a long gun and a modified handgun, were recovered by responding officers. Determining the origin of these firearms and what role they played in the shootings remains a significant part of the active and ongoing investigation. Multiple victims were located throughout the school, along with approximately 25 individuals with possible injuries. Once it was determined to be safe, officers evacuated over 100 students and faculty to a local community center, while police continued to assess whether any ongoing threats remained. Those with potential injuries were transported to...
Yeah, yo, this thing right here, the mass shooting that happened, the LGBT, once again, they mad about something. Maybe he was not a Trump supporter. I don't know. Maybe. But, you know, once again, even if you're not supporting, you cannot clutter up people around. That doesn't justify. People like to justify stuff and what? Because the law don't. You know what I mean? You know, some people, certain things have to just get used to certain things. And they still are getting used to it. They couldn't go around, you know what I mean? So, but I think it's great. That's great. That's crazy. And we talk about all the, I remember back, we said, oh, the people, you know, or unaliving themselves, the Muslim people, but yo, it seemed like LGBT people are doing the same thing. The worst mass shooting happened in Canadian history, y'all, is by they said the person's name was Jesse, but really it's a dude that had a female name. Let's clarify that, right? And I think, you know, I think it's crazy that they expose a person like that, because, you know, they should have kept it as what it is. Hold on, let me get that mic. My mic is fucked. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. I think it's kind of crazy that the mainstream media would expose him like that, saying that he was born, because you see females, right? Let me show you something. When it comes to females, right, is females, they don't care. They don't want no part of a female doing a mass shooting. So man need to understand that. Regardless if you're a trans man or you're gonna be a dude and you wanna be a trans woman, they just showed you that they're not taking no part of, you know, women are not terrorists. So I think that's the reason why they exposed dude right there, saying he was born a dude and then he became a trans. You know, but yeah, y'all look it up. They tell y'all it's a girl. Remember that, it's not a girl. It's a dude that was, you know, that did the mass shooting.
And that was some John Rambo shit. Ain't no girl was gonna go with. Ain't no girl gonna go off like that, like set it off, Queen Latifah shit. Had 2 guns, like like that sound like some. You see what I'm saying? So, shit, you can hide behind her. You're still gonna be exposed who you really is. But yeah, y'all go check it out. Worst mass shooting in Canadian history is done by the trans. The people that, this dude right here, his name, what they say his name was. I guess his name was Jesse. A dude could be a Jesse too.
The local medical clinic for triage and assessment, and 2 victims with significant injuries were transported to hospital via air ambulance. Following a medical assessment of the individuals, no discernible physical injuries were identified for those that remained at scene. I'd like to correct some information that was shared yesterday and to clarify that 9 people in total are deceased as a result of this incident. Initially, it was believed that one of the victims, a female with significant injuries, who was transported from the scene by our members and then transitioned to paramedics, had succumbed to her injuries. Police have since confirmed that is not the case. She is alive, and it was one of the 2 female victims that were airlifted to hospital.
That's the shit I don't like about mass shootings and stuff like this. Like, you could be a parent, and I'm talking about when it comes to school. You could be a parent, and you could be waiting to see what's going on. If you're what's going on with your kid, if they're hiding somewhere, if they're scared, they're at a friend's house, and they say, "Oh, you know what? I guess that person's gone out of life," and then you find out your kid is alive. Yo, listen, that is strange. That is strange. There's no way you should be giving out misleading the public with that type of information, or the family member with that type of information when there's a shooting like that. But it's just, they wanted to protect certain things in their community. But, I gotta say, boy, just watch. We're just gonna watch. A lot of crazy stuff going on. This is, once again, this is they're gonna find a way to justify this. They're gonna find a way to justify this. They're gonna say, well, maybe the mom didn't accept, or maybe the brother was bullying her home and didn't accept him to be I don't know.
Both of those victims remain in serious condition. The deceased victims from the school include an adult female educator, 3 female students, and 2 male students between the ages of 13 and 17.
First they said 4 people, then they came to 8 people. The other girl said 8. This guy said 9, right? She said 6. You see what I'm saying? If anybody was watching, I played it. She said 6 victims. So I guess the 9 must have been like, it's 6. It's 6. It's probably 6. But I guess the 9 must have been the tranny's mom and stepbrother. And then, you see what I'm saying? So that's 9 altogether. But it's 9 altogether. I guess it's 9. So it's 9. It adds up.
2 additional victims, an adult female and a male youth, were located deceased in the local residence. The BC Major Crime Unit has assumed conduct of the investigation and is working to determine the full circumstances surrounding this tragic incident.
You want to know something about Canada, BC right now, y'all? If y'all in America, look it up. It's underneath a state of emergency for crime, for criminal organization. Like the gangs have took over. They took over that side of the country. Okay? Look it up. You think I'm lying? Man, that's what I'm saying. You're never going to be in history that the United States of America is in a state of emergency because there's too much crime going on there. Too much crime going on over there. I don't know. I'm just saying.
There's been much speculation within the community regarding the relationship between the shooter and some of the victims. All of that remains part of the active and ongoing investigation. We are not in a position to publicly confirm any specifics at this time. Additional resources have been deployed to Tumbler Ridge to support both the investigation and day-to-day policing operations, which continue with the assistance of our neighboring detachments. BC Emergency Health Services, the Tumbler Ridge Fire Department, the local medical center, the school district, the community center, and many others within the community have provided significant support throughout this response. Anyone in the community who does not need support, who does need support, is asked to go to the Tumbler Ridge Community Center at 340 Front Street. We understand the community has questions, and we understand they want to know the motive behind this tragic incident. We do believe the suspect acted alone, and there are currently no other outstanding suspects. Our investigators remain on scene, actively gathering information to determine the full circumstances of what transpired. This is a deeply distressing incident where 9 individuals have senselessly lost their lives. Our thoughts are with the families, the loved ones, the first responders in the greater Tumbler Ridge community, and all those impacted by this tragic incident. If you have questions, I'm prepared to take them at this time.
Officer Renita Daya from Global News, could you please expand a little bit on the suspect? Was he known to police? Were there any red flags regarding his mental health?
So a suspect is identified as an 18-year-old female by the name of Jessie. We have a history of police attendance at the family residence. Some of those calls were related to mental health issues.
Could you spell the suspect's name, please?
Yes.
So, Jesse is mental health dude. I got mental health issues, right? Jesse is also a dude, which is a trans girl, right? So, and they're still labeling him. You notice the police officers label him as a female. If you notice, the media was the one. So that's what I'm saying. Some mainstream media are okay. And I mean, some of them, I can't bash all of them. If you notice, she let us know that it was a dude, that was a girl. He's trying to make it look like it still is a female. Crazy, it's a blood class. Science.
The first name is spelled Jesse. The surname is spelled capital VAN and space capital ROOTSELAAR.
Were the 2 victims found at the residence where the suspect lived?
Yes.
And why can't you elaborate on the relationship between the victims and in that residence? And
I can't elaborate on that. So it is believed the victims of that residence and the suspect are family members.
can you say what parent sibling, what relationship that is?
Yes, the female adult victim is the mother of the suspect, and the youth male is the brother of the suspect, or stepbrother.
Can you expand? You talked about the history of mental health with this female suspect. Could you expand on that?
I'll give you perhaps remaining some general comments on that. Police had attended that residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health with respect to our suspect. I can say that on different occasions, the suspect was apprehended for assessment and follow-up.
So apprehended under the Mental Health Act?
Yes.
Taken to hospital?
In some circumstances, yes.
Any indication whether or not the suspect was receiving any help for their mental health situation regarding counseling, any of those services that are involved?
I don't have that information at this time. If the suspect was currently receiving care, I don't have that information at this time.
You guys hear this? Do you guys hear these people and the questions they're asking? They're asking that a person that just shot up innocent people, 6 innocent people, including his mom, his stepbrother, and including himself, right? So now, instead of asking why couldn't they, protect, they're asking about why shouldn't they should, why didn't nobody have no counsel for him? Didn't I tell you they make excuse with Wasn't it? See what's going on, and this is a big part of the problem of the world, y'all. If people like to make excuses for people as like, you know what I mean, we don't make excuses for, you know what I mean, we don't ask if there's any um you know, if there's no mental health resource or there's anybody could get them any help for any 14-year-old that will go and pop somebody outside, in a Tim Hortons or like, go ahead and unalive an old lady, right? But we ask for a grown person because there is a man that's a trans woman that that the system failed them and they never got them the help they need. You guys hear this shit? Do you guys hear this shit? Let me rewind. Let you hear the question that she asked, because you know what? Who is she with? Listen to this. That
So apprehended under the Mental Health Act?
Yes.
Taken to the hospital.
In some circumstances, yes. Made some general comments on that. Police had attended that residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health with respect to our suspect. I can say that on different occasions, the suspect was apprehended for assessment and follow-up.
So apprehended under the Mental Health Act?
Yes.
Taken to the hospital.
In some circumstances, yes.
Any indication whether or not the suspect was receiving any help for their mental health situation regarding counseling, any of those services that are involved?
I don't have that information at this time. If the suspect was currently receiving care, I don't have that information at this time.
What's gonna come out of it is not. They're gonna say it's not criminal response, right? 6 people dead, including himself, his parents, and his stepbrother. But he's not gonna be criminally responsible because I don't even think that people listen. I don't get where they're going with this, because people that got those health problems, they once again they run away from home. Like there's one kid that they said that was missing. He ran away from home. He got mental health issues. He unalived an old lady, and then they put him in jail. They had no excuse for him. So, like, I mean, when do we go? Who do we? This shit doesn't fail, bro. As I said, nothing. There's not gonna be no justice about this. You know what I mean? At least the one lady, because some reporters are like crazy. When they're with their agenda, they're with their community. They're gonna protect their community. They're gonna blame the system for not helping. They're gonna blame this crazy. This is a mass shooting, but they're gonna blame the system for not helping. If you have the sense to get yourself 2 guns, and if you know in your head, in your sense, that you had a modified gun, it's illegal, first of all. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to have that. And you're walking around and you're getting off. No one's looking at you. And that I'm sorry, like some of that is, maybe bullying fault, um, drug use or whatever. Like, majority of that's the time, is you got that type of stuff. Kids are doing that early age, and then they just trigger themselves off all that. But they can't. I just think it's crazy. This is gonna be sad. 6 people that, like, the whole. I'm gonna say, 7 people, including the person who shot themselves. So that view, but it's messed up. I feel sorry for the people that had to went through that. You know what I mean? That it's crazy. It's madness. Think about it. If your child is at school and somebody that got problems and issues, and people are telling him that he just went off in his bounds, took his mom out, his stepbro comes to the school, killed 6 others, including himself, and then they're saying, well, you know what? The mental health issue should have been at his house. But reality, when people got those problems, if they really have issues like that, they really keep them in like a home, and then they, because that's where they go look for them.
So I was wondering, was they at did they mental health, the home that where he was at for like for the treatment or the mental health issue? Let him just wander the street. Um, wasn't monitoring his meds, or wasn't making sure they was on that he was on his meds, and it is crazy. It's just like it's wild. You know what I mean? But if you want to know who you is, and if you claim that you shouldn't, we can't always find that way out because there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of kids running that are 15 and 16, and they have mental health. If they out here doing some crazy, and that's where they got mental health issues. Where they, who's checking up on them? As I said, only certain people get justified for it. I swear to God, I'm not bashing nobody, but that's how it is. That's why some people have urge when it comes to certain things. But this right here, they shouldn't be asking that type of stuff. They should save those things for last. They should be asking like, all right, who made what was said, what happened, how did it come to this? Because if you're staying at home, that means you're not that bad. You know what I mean? Something must have happened. Some type of medication that must have made that the new medication or something new something new that they put them on that triggered and just what do you call it? The side effects just made him go crazy. Some of it's their fault, but still, you know what I mean? You must have had the feeling of want to do that in a long time. When somebody do something, regardless of what they're going through, they had that you know what I mean? When somebody do something they don't want to do, they've been want to doing that when they do it, especially when they do it like an outrage like that on the stage like that. They was influenced by others like themselves that do that shit when they get bullied. And that's just the facts. You see what I'm saying? Real shit. So we can't look for it's crazy.
Any of the interactions with police, did any of them have to do with weapons?
Yes.
In particular?
Yes.
Could you expand on that, please?
I will say that, again, I'm not trying to be too circumspect, but police have attended that residence in the past, approximately a couple of years ago, where firearms were seized under the criminal code. I can say that at a later point in time, the lawful owner of those firearms petitioned for those firearms to be returned, and they were.
Were criminal charges laid in relation to those firearms?
No.
What firearm? That's why I'm here. My question is, we've heard all around the world reports coming up from India, not local, but world, and we've heard people from Tumbler Ridge, actually people that know the shooter, and they are all saying that this person is transgender. Why is the RCMP not speaking to this? Why are we hiding this from them?
Well, first off, thank you for your question. We're not hiding it. In fact, you're the first media to ask the question. I will say this. We identified the suspect as they chose to be identified in public and in social media. I can say that Jesse was born as a biological male who approximately the information that I...
Identify that. That's our problem. Okay, here's my thing with that problem. And I applaud that reporter for that. That's what I said. Not all of them. But she's not the only one that acts that. He's a fucking liar, first of all. You see, I'm telling you, right? You put it's crazy, yo. This is absolutely insane. Did you guys hear the question that she asked this man? Did you hear? But this person is gone. It's deceased. You know what I mean? The dead does not want to be named. This is insane. This is what's ruined society. This is why why we're divided too, because we can't answer a simple fucking question. And this is the stuff that me and Rice talk about. The truth will be right there that says this person was born a man. But hey, no, actually, we want to change it. We cannot change that. What the science says, we cannot change what God made us. He's going to tell this lady, no, she's not the only one to ask that question. She's not. She's not. People have a problem with that. She's not. She should lose her job because she asked that question. No. You know what I mean? So you got to make it like a scene. You got to I'm sorry, yo. When stuff like that, we got to stop doing that. We confuse because we're trying to protect people because they're a part of our agenda and they're a part of a community. We got to call it like how it is. You know what I mean? Let's rewind again, come again with that. You know what I mean? We got to stop doing that. That's why when we think that a man do the shooting, we don't even know man because guess what? They don't want to tell y'all that this woman was a man or this man was a woman. You see what I'm saying? They need to stop doing that. I'm happy she hit him with a question like that. I'm happy. You know what I mean? Y'all need to start. That's what I'm saying. Be on some real journalist shit.
Is we've heard all around the world reports coming up from the media, not local but world, and we've heard people from Tumbler Ridge, actually people that know the shooter, and they are all saying that this person is transgender. Why is the RCMP not speaking to this? Why are we hiding this from them?
Well, first off, thank you for your question. We're not hiding it. In fact, you're the first media to ask the question.
Not.
I will say this. We identified the suspect as they chose to be identified in public and in social media. I can say that Jesse was born as a biological male who approximately, the information that I have, approximately 6 years ago began to transit.
Once again, people in the US and they don't let CNN tell you that there was a girl that did a mass shooting and killed 9 people in Canada, y'all. Don't let them tell y'all that, okay? Do not let them play with y'all. This is not a female, okay? And this is crazy, right? These people, right? They will ask for evidence, and then you give them the evidence, and then they'll still not use it. They'll hold it from the public. Because if you ask somebody like, yo, you investigate a shooting, and then they'll tell you, yeah, well, this person was such and such, but they was born as that, but they identified themselves as that. You gotta call it like you gotta tell the truth. You shouldn't let the media embarrass you like that. You know what I mean? You gotta call it like how it is. If it's a duck, it's a duck. If it's a dog, it's a blood clot dog. You see what I'm saying? So they gotta stop doing that. They gotta stop doing that. I'm sorry, yo. They gotta stop doing that, yo. It's embarrassing when they do that.
Position to female and identified as female, both socially and publicly.
Unfortunately, we've heard a lot of transgender and masculine shootings. Do you think there's a correlation here?
It's too early to say whether that has any correlation in this investigation. I think it's important to recognize that this investigation is still in its infancy. We have scenes still lock down the school and the residence while we execute search warrants and gather further evidence and talk to witnesses that may have further evidence for police.
Brandon was good.
I'm just wondering, can you tell me when weeks prior to yesterday last in contact with Jesse?
That's a good question. I probably have that answer somewhere here in my papers, but I believe we were there sometime last year.
So nothing in the last few days?
Nothing in the last few days, that's correct.
And you talked about the guns that were
Mhm.
covered. And can you say anything about the home?
Now we know why. Listen.
So I will say this.
So
I
now
know
we
the
know
guns
why.
are of significant.
No, we can't blame it on the media. You see, when there's something happen like this, you can't blame CNN. Yes, we can because they should know. TMZ, even if they put this out, they're gonna tell you it's a female. Don't listen to them, okay? They're not gonna tell you that. You see, this is the RCMP, right? This is the head of the headers. This is like the, they're like the FBI and the mountain police, like them niggas that helped caught what's his name? Ryan Wedding, like the FBI, mountain police, or whatever you call them niggas. But them, right? Them is like, he shouldn't have let that happen, and that's why certain things don't get figured out, and this is why it's certain, because you're thinking, oh, it's female, right? You did a whole blog on it, and then everything. Respect was not, as I said, we're not mad at anything what nobody want to be, but the fact is the fact. We can't do that. You know what I mean? And this is where the education is failing, because that's not education. If you can't, if you know what I mean? If your date of birth said this, and we're not even trying to go by people's date of birth papers no more. It's crazy. It's insane.
Interest to everybody. Part of the reason we haven't identified this,
but I know this when it comes to like LGBT shit and stuff stuff happen like this, it's like everybody like don't wanna. It's like they still trying to find a way. It's like there's everything else. There's only one person that said, oh, and you could tell she like, you know, she you could tell the reporter that asked that question, she is like, all right, I don't mind people do what they want to do, but you gotta tell the truth, like what I mean. Don't make it look like it's a female, because regardless of what they identify themselves, what they identify themselves as, you still the crime is that means you're lying on the crime. You know what I mean? The crime is the crime. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So it's like, how are we gonna sit up there and say you investigate the case when you're gonna do that? That means, we're gonna hold back evidence. And that's what and by him not saying the name, and I don't care who it is, any police officer not saying, if there's a female that identify themselves as a male, or a man that identify themselves as a female and do a shooting or homicide, whatever they do, you know what I mean? They should be identified as what they born and as their date of birth paper, because that what makes the case. You can't make the case when you're not saying, oh, I'm gonna identify. You know what I mean? That means you're not looking at the past. That person could have done some crazy shit and just decided to be that person because they don't want you to look at them like that. Because I keep telling people, you know what I mean? Because that's what people do. So we got to stop doing that. Crazy, y'all.
Specific models of the firearms or ownership is because at this point in time, our investigators continue to pursue those leads. We want to make sure that the information we do provide is accurate. We want to ensure that we can identify properly the ownership of the firearms, how they were procured, whether they were lawfully owned, unlawfully owned, whether they were manufactured, and whether there could be any other parties to an offense that we are not yet aware of. So when we are able to release that information, we certainly will.
He was quite young. Did he have a license?
I can say that she had a license that had expired. I believe it was in 2024. She did not have any firearms registered to her.
Can you talk about, sir, any indication in the information you have regarding Jesse experiencing bullying at the school, any sort of difficulty at the school because of this transition from male to female?
I do not have any information to suggest that was the case. I can say that Jesse dropped out of school approximately 4 years ago and was not currently attending the school.
So I have a question here from Jared from the Western Standard. They wanted to just know why we waited until now to confirm.
That's crazy. The reporter can't even call this man a dude. She has to say Jesse. But even though she just made him expose himself that this was a man that, did that, she, what do you call it? He's still saying up there saying she. You guys see this shit? You guys see this shit? This is wild, man. This is wild. I'm sorry. This is wild. This is wild. I can't. I can't. I'm sorry. This is too much. I can't. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is why people, this is crazy. Can't give a female the name of a female name. You're gonna confuse people.
Confirm the identity of the suspect.
It's a good question. I know it's one of concern, specifically with the speed of social media. I think it's important to recognize that yesterday, when we first provided a media availability, it was approximately 5 hours after the active shooter event. At that point in time, we were still trying to lock down locations. We had victims that we were evacuating. As you can imagine, the scene was quite chaotic with significant amount of trauma. And it's important for us, when we do release information, to get it accurate. I point to the case of now having to correct and say that there's only 9 deceased persons instead of 10. We want to get information out as quick as possible, but we also appreciate that that information needs to be accurate, because particularly when we're dealing with victims or dealing with the identity of a suspect, we have to take into consideration, in this case, our suspect was deceased. we had to locate next of kin to notify them. So I would hate, notwithstanding the public interest, I would hate for someone to find out that their loved one was deceased, coming from our podium or coming from the news media in advance of being told in person.
And then I have one other question.
They always have an excuse for something, you know. That's embarrassing. They always have an excuse. That is sad. He had a whole, you know, and he had no excuse. No excuse to go to the school. 4 years. 4 years. 4 years. Oh, you can't see. They try to blame the kids. Like there's always somebody to blame. Somebody's always looking for someone to blame. Right? They trying to blame the other kids when this kid hasn't been going to that school for 4 years. When you go through something, I'm telling you, people gonna find out, yo. And you're doing these things at an early age, you're gonna cost you with these problems. You're gonna go through these side effects. It's just like, you know, women do a breast implant. They go through problems for a while. They're gonna tell you that. You know what I mean? Anything, any problem, when you call it, you know, surgery, and you're gonna go through issues. You're gonna have issues. You don't have issues, yeah. You don't have issues. You don't have issues. And ask a female. Ask any female that do surgery and stuff like that. What's going on with it? You wonder what's going on? What's going on, bro? Steve? Much respect, much respect. I appreciate it, Steve, bro. Shout out to you, shout out to you. I was talking about this mass shooting that they say happened down here. That crazy. I got this, you know, this is wild. I'm just here, bro. Much respect. Shout out to you, though, bro. Yeah, it's. Yeah, you know, shout out to you and your family, man. Down here in the cold, boy. My man. I said these people are crazy. People don't like to take, don't like to call it how it is. That's how we have issues. That's how we have issues. That's why the world has issues. It's okay to be something, but then you gotta have to, like, you know, when stuff like this happens, you gotta, like, be fair so people can understand. You gotta let people understand. Because they don't do that in those other countries. That's the next reason why they got the people in the Olympics got rid of the trends and all that shit because it was confusing people, you know? And the Olympics is not going to tell you, okay, well, if your country doesn't cooperate and don't believe in what we believe in, then you can't be in the Olympics. Like, you see what I'm saying? They don't do that. So what? And so before they, you know, get on people, you know, what? They kind of like, all right, you know, make it fair for the ladies, which is the right thing to do because you don't want your daughter to have to compete. You see what I'm saying? And she don't get it right way. She can't. You see what I'm saying? Because she got to go through somebody that come on, that don't have the same power as her. That's not fair. Doesn't matter. That's what people need to understand. And that's where it stands. We got to start telling the truth when it comes to stuff like that. It's sad to happen to those people. Everybody got it, you know. And I think mass shootings are crazy. You gotta be really going through mental health. Really some real issues to be going and doing shit like that. That's crazy. You know what I mean? But man, I don't like when they don't deliver the story right when they try to hide certain things. It's not right. It's kind of crazy. They got to do a better job. You know, when they because if it's a cat, it's a cat. If it's a dog, it's a dog. The dog come and bite somebody. Not gonna say a cat did it. It's not because they both scratched. You know what I mean? A dog bite is different from a cat scratch. I mean, the dog is gonna do more damage. Than the cat. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, can't really, and that's a problem, you know. That's a problem. That is a problem. People need to understand. People just don't want to need to be fair like that, and that's the next reason why we get people confused all the time. You see what I'm saying? People get confused all the time, and people don't. When you're law enforcement, when you're a doctor, you know what I mean? Because when you call a family member, you know what I mean, they're gonna say what, or if they don't know, they're gonna be asking questions, and then no, you're gonna have to explain. They're gonna be like, well, shit, why you didn't say that before? You know what I mean? Because I know I don't have a son or a daughter. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's only right. It's only fair. We gotta stop doing that shit. You know, they gotta stop doing that, not we, because not everybody does that. The reporter, you know, asks, and then this guy try to get mad at her. Oh, you know, like, oh, she's wrong for asking that. She knows she should be able to ask that. She's a female. Crazy, man. They crazy out here, but yeah, man. Shout out to y'all. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Tony Yayo stop fighting on the airplane. Y'all need to stop chasing Ja Rule, man. Ja Rule gonna be the last thing. Tony Yayo, what are you gonna do when you don't have 50 Cent to beat? You know what I mean? What's gonna happen with you when his time comes? I don't think the whole what's his name? Bad Bunny should get. I don't think he should be able to perform in a Super Bowl no more though, because when and what happened with Janet Jackson, you know, it wasn't the same for her. But I'm gonna see y'all on the next one, y'all. Like, comment, share, subscribe, I'm out.